Okay, it is going down. Finally, I have my kappa carrageenan that I want to use to make a perfect meltable vegan cheese, and that's what I'm going to try doing today. But I'm starting this off with making my cashew milk for this. I'm using 1 cup of cashews, and I soak them even though I didn't have to. If you've got a high performing blender as I do, you don't have to pre-soak them, but I did anyway. I soaked these probably for about an hour. So this is a cup of cashews I'm just going to put into the blender. So if you don't have a high-powered blender, if you've got a NutriBullet or anything else, just soak them for at least a few hours or even overnight so they're nice and soft, so they can blend up easily and you'll have a nice smooth consistency for your cheese. Okay, so I'm just getting all of my cashew pieces in there. Of course, when they are soaked, they do expand a little bit, so this is a little bit more than a cup probably, but that's okay. I took a cup of dry cashews, and that's what I'm using. All right, I'm also going to be adding now 4 cups of water to this. Got some filtered water here in my Brita. Can't really see it, but that's what I'm using. Adding 4 cups. I could have also just started by first putting the 4 cups of water into the Osterversa because it's got measurements on the side. That would have been easier, but of course I've got to do it the hard way. So you can either measure it on your blender first or do this afterwards. Alright, so 4 cups of water. Okay, I see something in there I don't like. Part of the cashew. I'm just going to take that out. Now, I want this to be a cultured milk. I want it to be a cultured cheese to the best of my ability. And I've looked at a lot of different recipes and recipe ideas, and I thought I would follow either Miyoko Shinner's recipe fully or Jay Estafa's, but no, they're different, they're not the same, and there are elements of both of those and other ones that I like. So I'm going to just basically, guys, be trying my own recipe here, sort of based loosely on theirs. Okay, so I'm putting, this is just about a 1/4 cup of coconut yogurt. And I'm using the plain So Delicious coconut yogurt because it doesn't have any sweetness to it, and that should help this to ferment overnight on my counter so that I have a fermented cultured milk. Okay, so to this I'm also going to add, where is it? Some of my soy lecithin, which is an emulsifier. It's going to help to just bind everything together. Okay, I'm also going to add some nutritional yeast to this. And I think I'm going to add a tablespoon. Probably and I'm going to add a little bit of salt. I think I'll add the salt tomorrow when I do the rest of the recipe. Because basically right now I'm just making the milk. Okay, so here's a tablespoon. So I've got a tablespoon of nutritional yeast that I'm putting in there. And I'm going to put, I figured I'll probably put a teaspoon of the soy lecithin. Now if you have the granules, you can put like 2 tablespoons. I believe you need less for the liquid, so I'm just doing that right here. So this is just about a teaspoon of the liquid, and I think that's all I want to add to this. So I've got my cashew, water, the soy lecithin, the yogurt, and the nutritional yeast. And then I'm going to blend that together. Just mix that up in there. This stuff is very sticky. Not the easiest to get out, but anyway. I'm just going to blend on high. Okay, that was probably a minute and 10 seconds. I didn't fully count. I'm just gonna check to see what it looks like. It's already got a nice smell to it. Okay, so I'm gonna just, what you need is a bowl to pour this into. Let me find some. Okay, I was looking for the perfect container and I found this. This is a Pampered Chef measuring bowl. I use it sometimes when I'm mixing stuff for baking, and it's a perfect bowl because it also has a cover, and you're gonna wanna cover this and set this aside overnight. So I'm just going to pour it in here. It's looking pretty smooth. It's also pretty frothy, but it looks like it's a very smooth. Yeah, that's nice and smooth. I'm not seeing any grit, and it's a perfect bowl for this. Look at that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this on my counter. I'm going to have it covered. If you do not have a bowl with a cover, you can put saran wrap over top of whatever bowl you use. Set it aside. I'm going to check on this in probably 12 hours, and what I should see is something that looks like it's slightly curdling, hopefully, and maybe it's going to have a little bit of a smell of that kind of fermentation. When I tried making the Miyoko Shiner cashew sour cream, I left it out too long, so I know what that smells like, and I don't want it to get quite that far. So I'm going to play this by ear. I'm going to let you guys know. It's not as hot outside as it was when I tried that other recipe, but I'm still hoping 12 hours, maybe 18 hours, I can probably get to work on this. So I'm covering this. I'm going to put it aside. And the other thing I want to say is that I'm going to try making this cheese recipe two ways. So this is the cultured milk way, and the other way is just using either cashews just like this, and don't culture it, basically make your own cashew milk, or I also have soy milk that I think I might try, just using the soy milk specifically with the kappa carrageenan without the cultured aspect to it. Because I've seen people have tried it both ways, and both ways seem to work very well. People seem to be quite impressed. And if you don't want to sit around waiting for something to culture, or if you don't want to buy the yogurt, or you don't have the yogurt, or you don't want to buy the acidophilus powder, and all that other stuff, this might just be another way to do it. So I'm going to try this two ways. This is the first part, and I will be back with the rest. Alright guys, okay guys, I will see you tomorrow when I get started on making this. Okay guys, I am back, and it is probably like 13 or so hours. I can smell that already. Yeah, so it's got that slightly tangy smell to it, etc. Gosh, I don't know how to... You can see that it's curdled. Let me just show you guys. This is my cultured milk here. And this makes a lot. So remember I said I was going to do this two ways. The other way that I would do this would make less cheese. So this is making quite a lot. I'm going to mix this up. I'm going to blend this up. I've got to put all the other ingredients in there. Let me just mix this up first. So it smells good. Yeah, it's got that slight like tartness. Like a... I don't know how to explain it. In any case, when you're done with this portion, you should have about 5 cups of the cultured cashew milk. I kind of want to taste this. I'm just really curious. I think I'm going to put a little bit in my hand. Okay. Doesn't taste like cashews. It's good. I like the flavor of this. Now, I bought kappa carrageenan, ordered it offline. A lot of people post things, they're concerned about kappa carrageenan, they're concerned about carrageenan. Sometimes we read one article, or one article spins itself into many articles, and I think that's where from what I understand, carrageenan negative reviews came from. From one article either in the 90s, Miyoko Shiner has something about this on her blog. In any case, there are 3 forms of carrageenan: iota, lambda, and kappa carrageenan. It's the lambda carrageenan that is molecularly different than kappa carrageenan that is said to have the digestive issues. That's the one that causes people the digestive issues. So kappa carrageenan, it's used in a lot of things, and it's actually you know, this is safe from all the things I've read. The one source spun itself into many other articles, but it doesn't seem like it applies really to kappa carrageenan. So it's not carte blanche carrageenan. I'll never forget, my parents always grew up drinking Irish moss tea, and kappa carrageenan comes from Irish moss, which is a seaweed. And I believe agar-agar also comes from the same Irish moss. So I'm not sure how they make these things different, but they do. Okay, so this, what I'm thinking is, since you can keep this in the fridge, I think J.S. Stoffa said you can keep it up to 2 weeks. I might not make all of this. This looks like a lot. I didn't realize how much it was going to be. I'm liking that taste. You can taste the little tartness. In any case, okay, I'm going to make what he suggested, and he says put 5 cups of the milk. So we'll see how much I actually have. Maybe I have 5 cups. If I have a little bit more, I will... Oh, look at that. I'm just about at 5 cups. Okay, so I'm making all of this. It's exactly, holy crap. Wow. That is exactly 5 cups. Can you see that? That's like 100% exact 5 cups right there. Okay, so good. So this is going to give me a fair bit of cheese. Look at that. Okay, so now that you have this, now is when you're going to start adding your other good stuff. To this, guys, I'm going to be putting... I think I'm going to put like half a tablespoon of salt. I will be putting this into a salt brine afterwards, so here, not quite half a tablespoon. Let's call this, it's probably about a teaspoon. So I'm putting a teaspoon of salt. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of garlic. So this is how I'm deciding to flavor my mozzarella. I hope I like it. Okay, so I'm going to put a teaspoon of garlic powder. So I think if I make the second version of the cheese, just starting off with like the cashew milk I make myself, or the soy milk, whichever one, but without the culturing of it, I'll just make it another time, because I think I'm going to have quite a bit of cheese for the time being. Okay, so I put my garlic, I put my salt. I'm also going to, I guess I may as well open this up. This was, I think, $8.95 for the smaller pack of kappa carrageenan on Amazon. I just really wanted, I mean, you can use agar, but if you want to have this melt and be remeltable, it just sounds as though the best one to get is the kappa carrageenan. So I figured I'm going to try it, and I'm going to go with this. And that's that. Okay, so I'm going to put, this is at my half tablespoon, because this is kind of not the biggest opening for this, I'll just do 6 of these. So that's 1. Okay, and we're going on 6 right here. Okay, so that's my kappa carrageenan. And I still have, I don't know if that was like half of that or quite half of that. But again, the next time I do this, I'm not making such a big batch. But I'm sort of following, as I said, J.S. Stoffa's recipe, but altering that, and also a little bit of Miyoko Shinner's, but altering that, and also some other people's, and just changing it up slightly. Okay, I'm going to add apple cider vinegar. I do not have any lactic acid. That's what J.S. Stoffa puts in his. So I think I'm just going to put a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Feel free to use lemon juice if you like, but I'm going to use a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Okay, teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Okay, next you need a cup and 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch. But I might just use a cup, but maybe, you know what, I'll follow this. I'm also going to be using refined coconut oil and perhaps a little bit of canola oil, as J.S. Stoffa uses coconut oil. Miyoko Shinner just used canola oil. So there are some variations. So that's half a cup of the tapioca starch. I've been wanting to make this for a long time, guys. Okay, this is not fully cooperating because it's in a bulk barn bag. I did, however, buy a package of, I'm going to put all this. So that's not quite the second cup, but let's call that. I think this is right here, about the 2 cups. Okay, I think probably I will add the extra tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch, because that's just about the 1 cup. I want it to be nice and stretchy. Okay, you know what, guys, I'm not. Just can't be bothered. I can't find my scissors right now. All right, so I've got the kappa carrageenan, the apple cider vinegar. I've got my tapioca starch, garlic powder, and now we're going to blend this. I'm just going to move this over. I want to mix this up slightly before I blend it, though. I just want to give that a little mix so that it's not all, when you blend and then all the powder on the top goes shooting forwards. I'm just blending that a little bit. Some of that's sticking to my spoon, my spatula, I mean. Okay. All right, my hands are, wow, that's all sticking. Okay, knocking that off there, guys. Okay, so I decided to open the tapioca starch. These kind of things need to be put into a different container. Oh, and I see one over there. They just end up, they spill everywhere when they're in these little, this is going to be a mess. But that's okay, guys. This is real cooking right here in a kitchen. Not a fancy studio. And you can't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to add 1 tablespoon. And that's a half a tablespoon right there. So let's just like that. Okay, so that's sort of like 1 heaping tablespoon. All right, and then I'm going to start blending. And this is the Osterversa blender. Great blender. And messy stove, but hey guys, what can you do? Okay. I think I'm going to start low, just to kind of get everything. This is very interesting because it's actually quite thick in the blender. It gets kind of thick, like you can't even fully, like it starts to blend like you've seen my ice cream videos perhaps. And it's really thick and coagulated in there, so that's probably the tapioca starch already. Okay, so this recipe calls for 1.5 cups of coconut oil, and I have probably half a cup. That sucks. So I'm using, and I'm not, this is refined organic coconut oil, so I'm going to just use, that's half a cup of coconut oil, and I'm going to use a cup of regular canola oil. I don't have any more coconut oil on me. I used it the last time I made my vegan butter. And I made the vegan butter with the plant milk that I reviewed most recently. The one I got at VegFest. I have to tell you, it was delicious. Really, like the best butter. I'm not sure if it's the soy lecithin or the milk. It just seemed like it turned out really amazingly. Okay, so this is all getting goopy. That's 1 cup of oil, and I'm going to add another half cup. So now I'm just going to try to... Wow. Okay. Okay, you guys may not be aware, or you might have just realized you heard the blender stop. It was really that thick. It's sort of shocking because, you know, I can still mix it, but, and it made me worried. Oh my gosh, did I just destroy the blender? But I turned it over. Let me just show you so that you can see. Because if this happens to you, you don't have to freak out. But a lot of times if a blender has been overpowered and the resource has to shut itself off, they'll have a reset button. And on the bottom of this, see that button right there? I just press that and it clicks in and I reset it and it's fine. But a little bit shocking. Anyway guys, okay, so I'm now going to put it in this pan. Since this is a lot, I'm putting this in, this is what we call a Dutch pot in Jamaica. So I'm going to have my stove on medium, and I'm just going to start putting it in there already. You may need an emulsion blender if it doesn't, what's the word? If it starts to separate, or a whisk. But an emulsion blender will be easier. This is a lot. If I realized this was going to be this much, I would not have made all of this right now. As you know, it's just me and my mom and my daughter. So, however, we're having family. We're having visitors on Sunday. So maybe what I'll do is use this buffalo mozzarella, make some sort of an appetizer with some tomatoes. That would make perfect sense. And the reason I love making this kind of stuff in my blend tech is because you can get it all out. I've got some, the bottom of the Osterversa or your Vitamix always has those sharp blades. It's not so easy to navigate around. Anyway, I'm just going to get all this out into the pot and start mixing up. Okay, the stove is heated up now and you're mixing. That's what you're doing. You're going to mix. I wonder if I could, until it gets to a really stretchy consistency. My gosh, it's a good thing I had this big pan. When I saw Jay Estapa do it, he did not have such a big pan, so he must have portioned his out into smaller sizes. I could still do that. I wonder if that's a good idea for me to do right now. Okay, you're going to keep mixing. Okay. Making cheese day is not, it's not an easy day, it looks like. But it's such a big pan that I think it's a little harder to distribute the cheese and make sure it cooks effectively. Okay, now I'm seeing what I want to see. So I've just put some into a smaller nonstick pan I have here, guys. Hopefully you can see that. And as you're cooking it, it's supposed to, see that? It's kind of pulling away from the sides. That's what's supposed to start happening as you're cooking out the tapioca starch in here. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to keep doing that for a little bit. Okay, good. It's like separating, pulling. It smells delicious, by the way. And then after that, you got to kind of work a little bit quickly. So, okay, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so now, this is really, I'm still stirring. Probably I need a spoon. What you're supposed to do is put some of this quickly onto saran wrap. Apparently it can, you have to work quickly with this stuff, so it's good to do this in batches. As I said, I would never make this much again at one time. I don't need it. So, sorry. You're supposed to fold this over. Then you, keep stirring that for me, Chloe. And then you're going to basically do this. And you're going to take this little thing, see, like that, and make little mozzarella balls. I could have put more in there. Then you're gonna, oh, it's pretty hot. I've got, I'll just show you over here, ice water in a pan here. And you're gonna dip it into the ice water. You could probably use more ice. And again, I've got another one, and then you can make them bigger if you want. I mean, if you're waiting too long and it's getting cold, you can just like put it back on the heat for a little bit. And I'm gonna try to make a bigger, there we go. What's nice about doing this is that you have nice formed mozzarella balls, right? So this is a bigger one right here. Just going to, however, if you have a proper ice cream scooper and can scoop it out, you can do it that way too. And again, take it by the sides, spin, and then put a little knot, and then put it into your ice cold water. Leave it at least 20 or so minutes in your water. I'm going to just move this closer so you see, so that it gets nice and cold, and then we're going to transfer it into a brine mixture. Okay, so because the second batch was sitting there, it had a chance to sort of congeal a little bit. So as I'm putting it into this pan, I'm using my immersion blender, or you can use a whisk, just to sort of smooth it all out, hopefully. It's very thick. That tapioca flour, you know what we're going to be doing? It's going to be Philly cheesesteaks, it's going to be pizza, it's going to be bruschetta, it's going to be garlic bread. Oh, garlic bread, that'll be something I can make for the meal on Sunday. Okay, see? This is a workout, guys. Again, make half this recipe unless you want all of this. And you might have a big family and you want all this. For me, it's not necessary. Okay. You can also just cut off pieces of the saran wrap if you find it's too hectic to put down the cheese, roll it, then cut it off. So for some of these pieces, so this one I've just cut here. For some of the cheese that's in the pan, if the pan is starting to get cool, as I said, it kind of can solidify quickly. I just put it right back on the heat for a little bit. The heat is off, but it's enough to just warm the pan, and I mix it around. So see, I've just found a way. Go like that, fold that over like that, fold that like that, give yourself a bit more, fold that like that. See this mess here? I did one of these, and I think I was, spinning this too, that's too big. Spinning it too fast, so it busted on me, but that's okay. This is the cheese. So these are some pieces. My daughter ate up all a bunch that fell over here. She did say, it didn't taste like it had enough salt, but that's okay, because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do now. Just moving this right over here. Let me first show you, these are all my mozzarella balls. This was the ice water. Okay, so they've hardened up nicely. This gives them a nice shape. I'm going to put them into some ice cold water that will go in the fridge, but I'm also going to add salt. So, this is my Brita water that's in the fridge. Probably using the whole thing right here. Okay. You want to make a brine, and the good thing about this is I was thinking I might have to freeze some of this, but I might not. It just depends on the brine. Sorry, depends on how well it holds up, but salt water is like a preservative. You want the water to be salty, kind of like the ocean. So that's a guess right there. I'm going to mix that up and taste it. And that's basically your guide. Does it sort of taste salty like salt water? I need to give that a little taste because there's a bit of salt there. Okay, let's see how that tastes. Could have a bit more, actually. Oh, and remember I said my daughter told me that it didn't taste salty enough? Well, this is one of the reasons you don't have to add more salt. As it sits in the brine, it's going to obviously get some of that salt in there. That said, for the second batch I was cooking, I did put a little bit more salt right in there. I just sprinkled maybe like another teaspoon of salt, and I could taste the difference with that. So it was good. Okay, let's see how this works out now. Let me just... Okay, that seems pretty salty. All right. Now the fun begins. Let's take a look. The fun is going to begin after this because the cleanup is brutal. The big mess. Okay, so you're just going to actually can maybe just undo this like this. Yeah, there you go. You don't have to cut it. You can if you want. But there you go. Look at that beautiful mozzarella. Okay, just put it in the water. Awesome. I'm going to grab out the one that I'd made the big long thing. Let's see how that feels. Okay. That's this one. Put it in the water. What you're going to do is just basically leave it in the water, leave it in your fridge. I'm going to grate some up after a while. Like, it's just beautiful. Like, look at that. Look at that mozzarella right there, guys. I'm going to grate some up. I think I'm going to make pizza probably tonight because I have it, or I'll make like a grilled cheese sandwich, but something where I would use this mozzarella. So let's do that. Okay, there you go. You're just going to put all of it right into your bowl. Okay, everyone, this is my container with all my mozzarella, and I just cut a piece for my mother. Remember, she doesn't eat cheese, but so she was skeptical, but she said, "Oh no, it tastes good." What I realized, I think I made a mistake. The top, remember when I looked at it and I thought it was curdled? It had started to sour, and I guess thinking back, if it had curdled fully, it should have been slightly kind of lumpy. But I didn't want to make a mistake with this and over sour it the way I did with the sour cream, which you never saw that recipe because I destroyed it. So this is okay. So it's kind of lightly, it was lightly soured, but not as much as you might want. So you could leave it for 24 hours for sure. So I already took one out and cut a piece for my mom. I'm just going to show you how well it cuts. Can you see that? Oh, that cuts perfectly. Look at that. It's just such an easy slice. Okay, so you see that, guys? And that's what the slices look like. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm just going to taste a piece of this. Where is my salt? Okay. Oops. I think I'm going to just put a tiny bit of salt on my slice of tomato. I don't even think okay, there's some salt. I'm going to put a little bit of, let me zoom that in for you. I'm going to put a little bit of basil. This is just dried basil. It's what I have right now. And I'm going to put a piece of my delicious mozzarella. Actually, I did taste it, so I tasted it already when I let my mother taste hers. And I have some aged balsamic vinegar here. Now this is something you could easily put on a piece of bread. I'm just going to do it like this. Maybe I should. Okay. I'll just sort of do that. Maybe I'll turn that over actually. And just to get the whole effect in there. Let me just zoom in so you see that a little bit better. Of course, if you had fresh basil, it would be nice. I'm making pizza, so you guys are going to see that. Okay, so now I'm just going to taste this. Again, having it on bread would be better, but here we go. Oh my goodness. That is truly delicious. It's so scrumptious. This would be a delicious appetizer to provide people. So put on a little bit of bread, your tomato, your basil, whatever seasoning you want on there, a little bit of the aged balsamic. We're talking pure heaven right here, guys. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do is grate some of this for my pizza, of course. I think I'll save these couple pieces just like this, and I'm going to grate this and let's see how it grates. Okay, it's holding up, it's grating nicely. You can use this for grilled cheese sandwiches, for anything you want to melt it on, or honestly, plain, this tastes delicious. So unlike some of the vegan cheeses you buy, like Dea, that you can't eat plain, you can absolutely eat this plain. Now you can also make a buffalo pizza by putting some of these circles on there. I think I'll do that. I'll put some of the pizza like that with the circles on there. And so this is some of the shreds right here. This can be eaten plain. It's delicious. And I will, you know what? Remember my weird snake-like piece? This one? I think I'll try grating this one up because otherwise I don't know how I'd eat that. So I'm just going to grate that one as well. It's very slippery. If not, this might be one that I would use for, see, like that slice there, I'll probably just put on the pizza. Let me just try try a bit more. Probably that's what I'll do. I'll use some of these slices on the pizza because it's really, this one's a bit more wet because it's not a firm, solid ball. The other ones, at least with the inside of the ball, it was not wet. But that might, if that's not enough cheese for my pizza, I'll add more. But right now my dough is rising and I will be back. But there you go, you can just grate that nicely, put that aside, and just gonna taste a bit more of this for you guys. Nice, it's very mild. My only regret is I would probably also add a little more apple cider vinegar, but I would really let this culture a little bit longer. But as it is, it really does taste delicious. So I will be back. Okay, so I am here with the pizza. I've just left this out in the last, I don't know, 15 minutes or so as I was getting my crumbles. I made some more of my, remember the recipe for the pepperoni crumbles? So I made some of that because I wanted to put it on the pizza. So what I'm going to do is, on some parts, I'm going to just put like the big piece like that. See? There's one, there's two. Let's see how these melt up. I'm just going to put 3. Let's put that as 4. I mean, this is how some pizzas are made, where you literally just put the big pieces of cheese and it kind of melts in. So, and there's another one. It's probably good. I might add, I think what I'm going to do is put my my toppings, and then I'm going to maybe add a little bit more cheese, but we'll see about that. I might not. This might be enough cheese, quite frankly. Okay guys, so that's my cheese. I've got some of my freshly made pepperoni crumbles, and I'm just going to sprinkle some on the pizza as well. And then I'm going to get some mushrooms. I have some olives somewhere. These crumbles really are delicious. If you have not yet seen my recipe for that, please check it out. Gives you that nice pepperoni flavor, and it's quite delicious. Okay, that's maybe good. And it's simple to make. Okay, so I will get the rest of my toppings on, and you'll see me in 15 minutes after this is out of the oven. Okay guys, so here is the pizza, and it looks good, smells great. The cheese definitely melted. You can see those are sort of melted, and you know, once you take it out, it starts to sit for a little bit. I mean, it's maybe not as melty, but I'm gonna just cut this. It's got some onions on here, the pepperoni crumbles, the mushrooms, and some olives on that side, because I like black olives. My daughter doesn't, but that's okay. I'm gonna have that side. On the crust, I've put some of the Vegan Magic Parmesan cheese along there, which is really delicious. And I made a couple pieces of like a garlic bread with that on there as well. Okay, I'm gonna just cut this. You can see or I'll show you where the big pieces of the buffalo mozzarella were, like right there, over here. Okay, so this is my side. That's gonna be for my daughter. Well, at least in terms of where the olives are. Okay. Oh, this one's really ooey gooey, isn't it? Look at that, ooey gooey. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, see? Ooh, can you see that? See the gooey? You can't. The gooey melty cheese right there. Maybe that's too close. Okay, so you got some melty cheese right there. You got your pools of remelted cheese right there. And this is where apparently the kappa carrageenan shines better than agar agar. Agar is great for making like a hard cheese, that's fine, but if you want to melt again, you want kappa carrageenan, ideally. That's a delicious pizza. Look at that. Ooey gooey. Really delicious. You can probably put less of the cheese if you like. Okay, I said there's onions on there as well, right? This is seriously very delicious. What I probably would do, and as it sits in the brine, it's going to become saltier. I would add more salt, maybe a little more garlic, just kind of whatever flavors you might actually want to come out of this cheese, because you can make it your own. But as a cheese for this pizza, it's delicious, guys. And that is all for now. There's your vegan cheese, guys. It's delicious on the tomato with the basil and the balsamic. Delicious as a pizza. It's very versatile, and you can eat it cold, you can melt it and eat it warm. Love it. There is something else I want to point out. Now, because you can add the oil to this as you want, and I did put 1.5 cups, but I think this has shown me that other cheeses have so much more oil. This is not very oily. So that's really good. It's not overly oily, so you can control that. I mean, like some of the cheeses, when they melt, they're very oily, so it tells me they put a lot more oil in there. This doesn't need it. The taste is great. And it's perfect as it is. Alright guys, here I am with some of my mozzarella on a Gardein burger. Okay, so there it is. And I just look at, see, it's all melted, stretchy, gooey. I'm going to put that on my burger, and I'll let you know how it is. There we go. So there's that. I'm also putting on my burger some of my bacon. This is a new recipe I just came up with, guys. You're going to love it. Alright, I'm going to take a bite of this burger. Look at all the ooey gooey cheese. Let me get part that's got the bacon, like right there. So good. Bacon cheeseburger right here, guys. Just delicious. I'm gonna eat the rest of this. Thanks for watching.